Warning, the following is an opinion, and it may not be your opinion. Get over it. What's up, guys? This is Cashren here with a brand new Doctor Who video. And today I wanted to do something really interesting where I talk about my thoughts on the Doctor. And I may do this for a while, and if you guys like it, I may do all the others. So today we're going to talk about the 12th Doctor, or more specifically, the Capaldi Doctor. Now, what I want to preface this with is that I do not hate or dislike the 12th Doctor. It's more of a matter of I don't like how he was introduced to the show and how he stayed on the show. I feel like it's been mainly just really sloppy writing, and we'll get into the nitty-gritties. So first, let's talk about the pros. I love his rock star persona. I loved it. The part with the tank and the guitar, fantastic. Stuff like that. Even the glasses. I even love the sonic glasses. I thought those were all great. And in a lot of ways, it showed a lot of Matt Smith. And that's the main reason why I liked him a little bit more than I thought I would. Because I'm a huge Matt Smith fan. So, the other thing I really liked was how he's this old man acting like he's a young boy. And this is really, really interesting to me, is mainly because I feel like that is the Doctor in the nutshell. Is that he's a super ancient being who acts like he's a child, you know, and I really like that. And, you know, he still plays, he doesn't play as much as Capaldi as he did Matt Smith, but he still has that inner child within him. I love the fury of the Doctor with Capaldi. Capaldi's Doctor just has this flame. That's really the best way for me to put it, is that there's this flame about him that none of the other Doctors, I feel, really have. He just has this, he commands respect in a way that the other Doctors, I feel, didn't. And he just kind of, you know, he still acts like a fool, but he acts like a fool that you're going to respect, or else he's going to bitch slap you with the spoon. The really interesting parts for me were mainly when he would, the interaction between him and Missy, and also him and Ashilda. Those to me were fantastic. However, we'll get into why I feel like these weren't really done well. The very last thing, the last point I want to make is that, or at least on the pro side, was that I loved his individual journeys. Each journey he had felt different and unique, and I feel like it brought something to the table as an individual episode. They were entertaining and they were fun. Now, we're going to get into the cons. Unfortunately, I hate to say this because although I love the 12th Doctor, I hate what they did to him. And what I mean by that is, I felt like a lot of the writing was just really lazy and poorly done with Capaldi's run. Capaldi as an actor, as the 12th Doctor, was fan-fucking-tastic. But I feel like all his potential was wasted, and it's mainly the writing team's fault. The big areas that I really saw were really weak. The first one would be the overarching stories were not so great. You know, there were no Pandoricas, there were no impossible astronauts, there were no real mastery stories, and the master was fucking there. Like the when we first saw the master again with Tennant's Run, that was freaking insane. That was amazing. And then Missy comes in, and I'm thinking, oh shit, she's gonna do some crazy ass stuff, and she doesn't. Not really. Like it was over before it even started to me, and I felt like, well, damn. I felt like we didn't really have a lot of closure. Now, maybe I need to rewatch. Maybe there's a lot of stuff I missed. But to me, it felt like Missy was more of a companion, and I don't like that feeling. Is that she seemed more on the doctor's side, and although I love hate that. I love it because it just confuses their relationship, and we really get an insight to the relationship between the Doctor and the Master that we really didn't have before, and she kind of explains that, and I love that. But it's almost like she's not as evil as she used to be. Yeah, she killed a bunch of people, but she is nowhere near as evil as the other master was. You know, I mean, Jesus. He became prime minister. He ended up killing most of the humans, and now you got Missy who turns him into Cybermen. I just felt like that entire arc wasn't really well done. It didn't get anywhere, to be honest with you. It felt like we were just trying to get to a point that never really got made, and it just kind of fell out. And this brings me to my next point, is that I hated all the wasted potential in these series. Like, the seasons just get so infuriating because, for instance, let's talk about the whole hybrid situation, right? I found that to be fucking amazing. I found that to be just... I was on edge the whole time. Until the end, where it kind of goes out with a whimper. I mean, when I saw him, coming back to Gallifrey for the first time, that was all I ever wanted. I wanted to see him go to Gallifrey. But the way they did it, I was like, is that fucking it? It was just so underwhelming compared to what I had in my head. I wanted him to do exactly what he did, but they did it in one freaking episode. They did it in one episode, and I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Could you imagine, like, an entire couple episodes, like 3 or 4 of him actually fighting back, the Lord President, but it felt like he wasn't fighting Time Lords to me. That's the best way to describe it. And a lot of this, I'm sorry if it seems out of place, but with these, I'm going to try and not script it as much, and I'm just going to talk and tell you how I feel. But it felt like he wasn't fighting Time Lords. It felt like he was fighting humans, and that he just overwhelmingly, won. And although that's great and all, I would have liked to see more of a resistance from the Lord President. I would have liked to seen him with an army. What I would have liked to seen was a civil war, a Gallifreyan civil war, where you've got the Doctor with the people, okay, with the Gallifreyan people versus the Time Lords. That is the shit I wanted to see. That is what I wanted to see the whole time. Like, I wanted to see him, when I saw him at that table eating his soup, I'm like, oh fuck, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. The Gallifreyans are going to rise up and push back the Time Lords, and like, oh, I got so fucking hyped for it. And it didn't happen. It didn't fucking happen. It just kind of dropped down. And that's the best way to describe how I feel about Capaldi's run, is that there were so many amazing potential story moments that they could have used. Just like, hell, you could have just went with that for one whole season, and I would have been fucking happy with it. But I feel like he had so many great moments that could have ended up in an entire series, like an entire Impossible Astronaut type of, story, where he could have ended up basically we would end up exactly where we were, but it's more about, when it comes to storytelling, it's more about the journey versus the end result. I feel like we got the end result we wanted, but I didn't feel like we went on a journey. I felt like we were playing Skyrim in a way. Like we just fast traveled from point A to point B. We didn't actually get to the nitty gritty. Oh my god, the Doctor is going against the Lord Commander, or the Lord President. I'm thinking Game of Thrones right now. I just watched the new episode. And it's like, holy crap, he went out with a whimper. It wasn't even interesting. It went from being the super interesting plot to meh. And that's the best way to describe Capaldi's run, was that it's the whimper of Matt Smith. That's honestly how I look at it. It's a whimper of Matt Smith. And I hate that. I hate that I had to say that, but it's so true that you've got Matt Smith Matt Smith's Doctor was the rock star Doctor. I'm sorry, but it's true. He was the most bombastic Doctor we have ever had, and he went out with a bang. But then you've got Capaldi's Doctor, who, I mean, it felt like there was so much potential there, and yet we didn't really have that journey. It didn't feel like we earned the end result. Like the whole part at the very first episode we ever saw with him, where he's looking at his face. I thought he would have, I was hoping he would have this revelation of Pompeii as Tenet, where he would remember all this, and he would remember, like we'd have this amazing flashback or something, but that never fucking happened. What we got was he just kind of came up with his own conclusion, which is fine, but that is so melodramatic, or not melodramatic, the opposite actually. That didn't give me, I can't think of the word I want to use, but it wasn't the same amount of, it wasn't dramatic enough, let's just say that. It felt like they just wanted to rip off the Band-Aid for all of his arcs. Just rip off that fucking Band-Aid. We're waxing the Doctor.